Hi guys, so many of you may already know that from my previous videos that travelers traveling directly from Brazil, India or Turkey to Nigeria, those are the red list countries, need to quarantine in a government facility on arrival in Nigeria. But if you are one of those travelers that fits the bill of exactly what I just mentioned, what is the process when you arrive in country? Where exactly will you be quarantining? Is it a weird government lab? Like, I won't lie, I always think about, is it gonna be like a weird laboratory somewhere? Or are you gonna be quarantined in a hotel? If it's a hotel, can you choose which one? Do you have to pay for extra additional meals? Like, does the fee actually cover the complete cost, or do you have to spend more money for meals and drinks? What if you decide you don't want to quarantine? Like, what happens? Can the government actually stop you? Is there a penalty? That is what this video is all about. In this video, I'll be sharing the answers to the questions that I posed. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Sassy Funke and I'm a Nigerian author, travel and lifestyle content creator. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that big subscribe button down below and join an incredible community. Okay, first of all, I want to state that the government has said that all Nigerians, nationals and Nigerian residents, permit holders who have visited Brazil, India or Turkey in the 14 days preceding travel to Lagos, you could be fined up to 300,000, imprisoned up to 5 years, for up to 5 years, or both if you do not abide by the quarantine rules. Like, this has been stated. So I'm gonna go into the sort of various key points that you need to know. First of all, what is government supervised quarantine? What is it, right? Basically saying that everyone that arrives into Lagos must quarantine for 7 full days from the point of arrival, right? The day of arrival in Lagos is treated as day 0, right? So that is sort of the key elements there. It says that you must quarantine in a supervised quarantine hotel if you have traveled from or passed through a country on the list where travel to Lagos is banned, right? So the next question I'm going to touch on is, where is the list of government-approved facilities and how much do you have to pay, right? So it states here that, I guess the question before where I was asking, is it a lab, a government weird lab, was going to be a hotel? You're going to be able to stay in a hotel. So the government has probably partnered up with different hotels. And here are the hotels that I mentioned here: Joy Goat Hotel, Ibis Hotel, Golden Tulip Hotel, the Cardinal Center, Yaba Mainland Hospital. I don't know if it's, all these ones are still available because it's on the portal. But basically the range is around from 30,000 Naira to 40,000 Naira is what you're going to expect to pay per day, right, of your quarantine. Where can you arrive? If you're required to quarantine in a supervised quarantine hotel, you can only arrive in Lagos at one port of entry, which is Murtala Mohammed International Airport. I guess Ikeja, which I guess they mean that if you're traveling from those countries, you really shouldn't be arriving in Abuja. I guess Lagos is the one that's dealing with those travelers coming from those key red list countries. What happens on arrival in Lagos, at the Lagos airport? It states here that when you arrive in Lagos, you will need to provide your passport and negative COVID-19 test results. You will then be escorted through the airport with other passengers who need to quarantine at a supervised hotel. The fee you pay covers your transport to your quarantine hotel, basically stating that all the fees you've paid, obviously pre-boarding, covers your transport to the hotel. It says everyone has to wear their face coverings as per usual. A member of staff will take note of where everyone is sitting on the bus in case anyone tests positive later on, so they can track things. It says you must only travel to your supervised quarantine hotel by the transport provided. So basically you can't get someone else to drop you there. You need to actually go in basically the organized transportation for you just to control, I guess, COVID in case any of you guys have it. It says you must maintain protocols as per usual, keep your distance, washing and sanitizing and everything. So talks loud. What happens when you quarantine in a supervised quarantine hotel? It says when you arrive at the supervised quarantine hotel, you'll be required to quarantine in your room for 7 full days. The supervised quarantine hotel will provide your meals, which your bill already covers. This is really important because I know some people have asked me before that, oh, do you have to buy your own meals? So the hotel provides everything for you. It states then that you can quarantine with the people you travel with, and hotels will prioritize allocating larger or connecting rooms to families. So basically, you're going to be kept together as a family, which is good to know that, you know, maybe your child will be put in a different hotel. Now, let's talk about testing in a government quarantine hotel, right? It states here that you have to take a day 2 test, right? You will need to take a COVID-19 PCR test on or before day 2 of your quarantine, right? It says the first test is designed to help you identify any potentially harmful variants of COVID-19 at the earliest opportunity, right? It then states that you will not be allowed to shorten your quarantine period if you receive a negative test result, as you may still develop COVID-19, right? And tests will be taken in your room in your quarantine hotel. So basically saying that this day 2 test is not a way for you to get out of quarantine. It's just to basically identify any, you know, variants, any, you know, crazy variants of COVID-19, but you still need to continue even if you're negative, right? It then states that if you receive a positive result on day 2, you will continue to quarantine for a period of 14 days. If you get a positive day 7 test, you will continue to isolate till day 14. It then states that if you're in quarantine with people you have traveled with, they will also need to quarantine for 14 days beginning the day you arrived. It then states here that if you receive a positive test result from your day 2 test, you'll be required to take your day 14 test, right? If you get a positive result, you'll be required to quarantine till you get a negative result. This is because you may be infectious to others. So that's all about the day 2 test. About the day 7 test, it says that you need to take a COVID test on or after day 7 unless you receive a positive test result from your day 2 test. If you receive a positive test result from your day 7 test, you'll be required to quarantine till day 14, right? If you have quarantine for 7 full days and you receive a negative test result from your day 2 and 7 tests, you may leave quarantine, right? This is really good to know that if you leave quarantine, you may know that you may have, all travelers have to pay for a full 14 days test, but if you get negative on day 2 and day 7, you actually get a refund for the remaining 7 days. So this is really good for you to know. Next question, are there exceptions, right, to this whole quarantine thing? It says here, people who do not need to quarantine. It says a very small proportion of people arriving in Lagos who have visited or passed through a red list country will not need to quarantine in a supervised quarantine hotel or in private accommodation. Exceptions to the quarantine guidelines will be at the discretion of the Honorable Commissioner of Health, right? So are there exceptions to the rule? They're pretty much saying yes, there are exceptions, but they're not saying, you know, who specifically or what conditions are those people that are exempted, right? So I guess it is not for normal people. Maybe people are insiders that have other information, but basically this information is not shared. So there are exceptions, but I doubt it's for the normal average person, right? So perhaps maybe people with, I guess, health, you know, underlying circumstances or issues, but it doesn't really state here. Finally, can you end quarantine early? It states here that you will be able to leave quarantine when you receive a negative result from your day 7 test and have quarantined, right? If you get a positive result from either of your tests, you will not be able to leave supervised quarantine until 14 days have passed from the day you arrived, right? If despite a negative test on day 7, you develop COVID-19 symptoms on day 9 or day 10, this would trigger a further test and extend quarantine for 10 days if the test is positive, right? It then finally states that you will not be able to end your quarantine early through the test to release scheme. So guys, yes, that is pretty much, I guess, the key information that travelers that are coming from those key red list countries should know, because I found it difficult to find this information. And I know a lot of times I've been talking about, oh, red list, red list, red list. If you're one of those passengers, what exactly is the process? I really hope this information has sort of enlightened you and giving you a little bit less anxiety over the process that you may have to go through if you decide to come to Nigeria from those countries. I really hope the video has been super useful. Thank you once again for tuning in to this video. And if you made it here, I know this video doesn't relate to everybody, right? But if you made it here, I would love for you to say, Sassy, we made it. We made it. I want to see that in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you on my next video. Bye.